下吧，再要打
Yeah, we're good.
那个打板啊，在那，在那。
You need that to synchronize the videos.
Yep.
你在这儿。
C'est super. Ils doivent tous être connectés sur le réseau.
Wow.
Good. Have to smile.
Yes.
Yes, smile.
Yes, smile.
And funny.
That's it.
3, 2, 1, action!
Okay. Okay, hi, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about why projects fail and what can be done about it. Let's start with a quick story. In 1626, the King of Sweden commissioned the construction of the warship Vasa. The ship was to be one of the... I'll start again.
Okay.
I go too fast. Hi, welcome back. Today we'll talk about why projects fail and what you can do about it. Let's start with the story. In 1626, the King of Sweden commissioned the construction of the warship Vasa. The ship was to be one of the world's first double-deck gunboats, and it was outfitted with heavy decorations and bronze cannons to satisfy the king. The Vasa was to be a symbol of the power of Sweden and was designed to impress all that saw it. Before its maiden voyage, the ship failed, unfortunately, a series of stability tests conducted in the Stockholm harbor. In fact, they had people run from the left side to the right side, from the left side to the right side of the boat, and eventually the boat started to take on water. They stopped the tests immediately. They knew there was a problem. The ship's lavish decorations and double-deck design resulted in the ship being top-heavy. Regrettably, the king was pressuring the project to be completed, and nobody had the courage to inform the king of the stability issues, especially the project manager. On its maiden voyage in 1628, the ship was launched to the cheers of thousands, but almost immediately, a gust of wind. That's terrible. Hold on, I'll start again. Before its maiden voyage, the ship failed a series of stability tests conducted in the Stockholm harbor. The project manager put sailors on the deck of the boat, and they all ran from the left to the right, to the left, to the right of the boat, and the boat would move and move, and eventually started to take on water. They knew there was a problem. What was wrong? Well, the ship's lavish decorations and double-deck design resulted in it being top-heavy. What should we do? Unfortunately, the king was pressuring the project to be completed, and nobody, especially the project manager, had the courage to inform the king of the stability issues. On its maiden voyage in 1628, the ship was launched to the cheers of thousands, but almost immediately, a gust of wind pushed the boat over to its side. It took on water and sank, only 120 meters from the shore. What went wrong? To start, the project had little experience building double-deck gunboats. This was something new, so they didn't know exactly what they were doing. This increased the risk of the project. Secondly, pressure from the king resulted in a breakdown of communications. And in addition, design changes were made in the middle of the project, so the scope of the project was changing. Like in the case of the Vasa, there are typically signals or signs that suggest there is something wrong. Cost overruns, overdue deliverables, quality problems, high project staff turnover. These are just a few examples. But these are only symptoms. What are the causes? Two large categories exist. Firstly, we'll call them trigger events, or specific actions, or errors, events that lead to failure. For example, the error to build square windows with punch rivets on one of the world's first jet aircraft, the de Havilland Comet, resulted in rapid decompression and loss of life. The airplanes developed cracks around the square window edges. As a result, later airplanes now have round windows. And secondly, behavioral patterns. Errors in management or with the context the project finds itself in. For example, the lack of courage and poor communication in the case of the Vasa. But whatever the cause, unfortunately, it all comes down to poor decision making. Projects can fail for many reasons. Let's take a look at some common causes of failure. First, the goals or vision may not be clear, or the goals may not be aligned with the vision, where we want to be. There may also be some private agendas. So not everyone's on the same end goal. Some people want certain things, other people want others. In some cases, the goals and vision that do exist are not used in the planning process. We wrote the goals, we wrote the vision, we put them in a file, and we never looked at them again. Another reason why projects fail is because of what's called scope creep. This was the case of the Vasa. This means that the scope, or the amount of work we're doing, what we're doing, continues to be modified as people add changes, personal changes, maybe in the case of the king, new features, new requests to the project after it's been started. Long-range changes to project's outcomes must be validated through a system of governance. And this, of course, is another reason why projects fail. Well, because the governance of the project is not well defined. Projects can also fail because of poor resource allocation. Not enough people, or a lack of clarity of who does what. Also, poor communication is a source of failure. Stakeholders and project team members are not kept up to date on the project's advancement or the state of tasks to be accomplished. Mentors are also a factor in the success of projects. If a mentor has been poorly chosen, or the mentor doesn't have the skills required, they can't open doors for the project, they can't help you find resources, they've been chosen for some political reason that doesn't make any sense for the project, well, they really can't help the project. Management is also critical to success of projects. In particular, interpersonal management is required. You may have a technical expert as a manager of a project, but if that expert cannot interface and work with other people, the project will fail. This was again the case of the Vasa. Probably a technical expert in terms of boats, maybe not double-deck boats, but was unable to work with the king, communicate, and we didn't have any courage. Effective management of stakeholders is also extremely important. When managing the project, you must consider each stakeholder's point of view. Some are for, some are against, and some are on the fence. What do they want from the project? And how can you get them to help the project move forward, or at least don't get in the way of the project? Remember that you must deliver the project to key stakeholders, and that influencing stakeholders is critical to success. And we'll talk about influence later in this course. Estimations of required project resources, time, people, money, physical equipment, can also be poorly done. And this is another cause of project failure. If estimations are done using the wrong information, or the people doing the estimations really don't know how to do estimations, or don't have the knowledge to make those estimations, you're not starting out on the right foot. Also, what people do with estimations may be flawed. The project may also fail if estimations are considered as fact and not as estimations. Lack of risk management is also a contributing factor to project failure. Good project managers will always assess the risks, define how to mitigate those risks, and define what's called a trigger level for action. Lastly, the manager may lack basic project management skills. Cases of accidental project managers that have been promoted into project management are far too often. So, what are some ways we can make sure that the project succeeds? First, have a clear goal. Make sure the problem addressed by the project is well defined and make sure that the solution being put into place is appropriate for the problem. Can you describe the problem in one simple sentence? Do you know what the goal of the project is? If not, redefine the goal until it's clear for all project members and stakeholders. Use a CPS method, creative problem solving method. Ask why, and why again. Secondly, know your stakeholders. What do they want? They have a vested interest in the project. What is it? And also, of course, know how you can best influence each stakeholder. What makes them tick? How can you get them on board, or how can you isolate them if you need to? Undertake a detailed analysis. Know who your enemies are and know who your allies are. Thirdly, you may want to promise low and finish high. Don't promise things you can't deliver on. There's a very good chance that something will go wrong in the project. And if you promise too much, there's a good chance you will not be able to deliver on that promise. So again, promise low, finish high. Fourth, make sure you get agreement of all stakeholders on the detailed deliverables. Doing this will help avoid scope creep. Fifth, make sure you keep people informed in a timely manner and use appropriate communication methods, channels, and tools. Charts, online tools, posters are just some ways you can communicate with stakeholders and team members. Sixth, planning, obviously. This is extremely important for project success. The old adage is very true. Failing to plan is the same as planning to fail. Numerous methods and tools exist to help you plan your project. Microsoft Project and other tools exist. Use them and use them wisely. Seventh, build a firm understanding of the skills required for the project and make sure your team evolves accordingly. Your team should evolve as the needed skills evolve over the life cycle of the project. You may not be able to recruit people into the project that have the skills you need, and if this is the case, your job is to make sure those skills are developed as the project evolves over time. Eighth, make sure you manage your team. The project will move along a certain life cycle of ups and downs over the life cycle of the project. There may be a lot of excitement at the start of the project, followed by feelings of frustration when the team hits its first stumbling blocks. As a manager of a project, you must adapt to the team and make sure you're providing the appropriate type of team management as a function of the situation your team is in. Be a flexible or situational manager. Ninth, undertake effective risk management. Do it, fix triggers. And 10th, make sure that you effectively follow up on the project and learn from past mistakes before moving forward. Close the project accordingly. As a manager of the project, make sure you keep these 10 items in mind and you'll decrease the chances of project failure. Good luck.
Yeah, yeah.